Hello everyone, welcome to City Skylines mod review. This is something I've kind of wanted to do for a while and I finally decided just to go ahead and do it. I don't normally do a whole lot when it comes to mods with this game, but I figured I'd give it a shot. There are some that I've used before that I've really enjoyed, so I kind of wanted just to do some videos on some of those mods and just kind of show you a little bit of how they work and what they're all about. So the first mod I'm going to do is for the Tsunami Disaster Water Spawner by NS5X. I'm not sure that's how you say it, but that's the name. Now you can see it's a pretty old mod. It's not updated 3 years ago, but it does still work. And I'll try to find a link here for the Steam Workshop so you can check it out if you want. So we'll go ahead and turn that on. As you can see, it says hold shift plus right click for it to work. So once you turn that on, make sure it works. Yep, we'll go ahead and load a city. We'll try Friendship Town. Now it does disable achievements when you have this on, so keep that in mind. If you're using mods, you will not be able to get any achievements. No matter what the mod is, like any mod basically disables those. So for any mods, you want to make sure you have those off. So what we're doing now is, this is just, a regular city. This is one that we've been working on Twitch. And what you can do, I'm going to test this out here. I think it has to be over water. No, it doesn't. Okay. So, all you do is I'm just holding shift and right click. And as you can see, that thing is starting to get really, really big. And I don't want to move because it's going to goof it up a little bit. But if we just hold shift and right click, it's going to get big. And then once you let go... Oh, now we're having an earthquake on top of that. Alright. So this came out before there were disasters in the game. So like before this earthquake, when this mod first came out, that wasn't in the game. So this was kind of like a way to early on have disasters in the game. Now you see we held this down for quite a long time. So it's going to be a pretty massive wall of water. As you can see, it's kind of and there's our earthquake, which is on top of that. That's going to affect the water. So we're having a tsunami in our tsunami on this particular map, which is kind of interesting. Now, we should also put out the fires. Oh, yep, there goes the fire, and there goes the building. Now, because this is different than the way the tsunamis in the game normally, this can get much larger. So, I know there are some really tall buildings, like under the milestones or the monuments that fusion generator. That's a really tall building. Most of the time that won't get destroyed, but with this mod you could hold that thing down for quite a long time, get a really huge wave of water and just annihilate everything. So as you can see, we had a pretty tall column of water there. It flattened the whole city just about. There's a few buildings kind of ways away that were unaffected, but at our source, yeah, it got. And it's still going. It's still really tall. Look at that. So this thing can get really, really tall. Oh yeah, it's still going. Now, here's the thing. If you have a larger city, like let me load up one of my older ones here. Oh, what are you called? Squirt Town. This is a pretty massive city. This is almost 300,000 people. If you played this game before, you might have noticed the bigger your city gets, it slows down quite a bit. So that city we just did was pretty small. I think it was, 27,000 people, give or take. This one's like, 10 times that, maybe, give or take a little bit. So stuff is going to load a lot slower. You're going to notice, and of course it's nighttime. Well, I guess day's coming. Change our music here. So look how much slower time is moving. So we're going to have to hold this down for a lot longer to get that type of wave that we had with the first city. So if you're trying to demolish a really big town like this, it could take quite a while. Now as you see, our camera's moving a bit. That's going to kind of mess up our wave. And so will letting go and redoing it. So this is going to be kind of a weird little wave here we got going, but The longer you hold it down, the bigger it gets. Then once you let go, see how it's kind of off center now? And there's just kind of cars floating on top of that. Yeah, when this, like I said, when this mod was made, it was before disasters were in the game, so see how it kind of got off a little bit. So really, you kind of got to play around, get the right camera angle. Like maybe straight down like that would have been a better option for it to be more consistent. But as you can see, even though we didn't hold it down that long relative to what it was like with the other city, because obviously time was a lot faster than that, it's still a very, very high wave of water. Things are really slow. So these are all sky rises. They're all, most of them I think are maxed out. So I think they're as big as they're gonna get. And it's still like, yeah, look at that. It's like twice the size. So you know, imagine like a 60-story building and having a wall of water that's twice as tall. It's gonna demolish everything. And as you can see, where's our power plant? Oh, that's the ultimate recycling center. Oh, our power's way down here, so it's actually probably might take it a while to get down there, so it's probably not going to get affected because it's also on a hill. But you can see the cars don't really know what to do. It's a very strange wall of water because I don't think they used to float like this. Or maybe they did, I don't remember. But yeah, this mod is about 3 years old. But it still works, it's still pretty fun. And you don't have to make them this big. You can have smaller ones. Again, you just hold it down for a couple seconds. Well, again, because time's moving so slow, it might be a little off, but you can change the size of how big you want them, and you can move them around to like how this kind of moved around a bit. You can do the same thing. I mean, look how tall that is. You know, like a level 10 tsunami, if you do a disaster on your own, you can go up all the way to 10. It's nowhere near this. So this will demolish pretty much anything in its way. And here's kind of where that hit. And this is flat. You can see it's kind of hard. Looks like mountains in the background, doesn't it? But it's just, and your performance will take a hit because it's destroying everything. As you can see, we've lost probably 80,000 people almost. We did it kind of right in the center of the city. And it's going to kill probably everything north of, I mean, maybe these guys will be saved. Maybe this big hill here will stop that, but because it got moved around a bit, it's kind of like 2 or 3 different surges of it, walls of it, I guess. But yeah, this was all filled, and now it's all empty. But as you can see, my poor computer's taking it pretty... Oh, they survived? Really? That must have been a bug, because that water's way over the top. That's kind of strange they survived. Oh, they're rebuilding. Wow, they're... Okay, they're anxious to get back. Rebuild the subway zone. But this is the mod. And see, this one's a lot smaller. It's not nearly as high. So, when you get a big city like this, if you hold it down and nothing's happening, it just takes a while for it to kind of actually show up. So play around with it a bit if you're doing a bigger one. Like maybe hold it for just a quick second, like just a quick, 1 or 2 seconds if that. And kind of see what type of damage it'll do. But we held it down for quite a while for this. Now this is how I used to end my Cities Skylines series. If I had like a new DLC, and I was ending one map, this is what I would do to kind of end that series and start a new one. So like right there where it's dry, I think that's ground zero where it initially hit. So if we let this go, it would destroy the whole town, I think, eventually, so. It's a pretty fun mod. Like I said, this was before Disaster, so, you know, when the game first came out, we had this option, this mod came out. I fell in love with it, because my favorite thing, you know, I built this massive city basically just to destroy it. I wanted a big city just to do disasters to, and this is kind of why this town was made. So the downside is it is killing performance. As you can see, time is crawling now, and we've lost almost 2/3 of our population. So you can make this quite and look how far away it is from where it started. Now this building might survive, but still most of the buildings are getting leveled because it's just so big. And I don't know how these little odds and ends are surviving here, but they're living somehow, so good on them, I guess. So if you want a challenge, if you want, like I said, I have, you know, 27 million bucks here saved up. I can afford to kind of start over. So if you just want to mess around, it's a pretty fun mod. You can see it's still kind of buggy a little bit. Not really buggy, but they're still kind of processing that initial blast of water where it spawned from. Now you see the north here, it's already exited the city. It's coming towards the south. That little guy survives it, and that little is huge. That's probably going to get destroyed, isn't it? The trick with water is if it's completely submerging the building, like there it goes, it will collapse. Whereas even if like a little antenna is poking out, or if the wave passes and like one corner of the building is already on the other side, it will survive. But if it's completely 100% submerged, every inch of it, even like a tree or a radio antenna, then it will collapse if it's completely gone underwater. So that's why you'll see, like, you know, a building like that should be destroyed, but there's like an antenna on top, like, I can't really find a good one, like this. That little antenna there might be the only thing sticking out, but the game was like, well, it's part of a building, so it's gonna be okay. And then here's the second wave of water coming through. As you can see, this one's dying out a lot faster. It's a lot smaller now compared to our first mega wave, which is still destroying almost all the buildings it comes in contact with. So quite a fun mod, quite a devastating mod. But if you like destroying your cities, this is definitely a one to pick up. So I think that'll do it for me for today. I just want to say thank you all for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And if there's any mods you want to see and have me try out, you know, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what you'd be interested in having me check out and do a video on. So, again, thanks for watching, everybody. I do hope that all of you enjoyed, and I do hope I get to see all of you next time.